Saints 365 is a passion project to glorify God and honor His saints. This project is based upon the book, The Lives of the Saints by Father Alban Butler.
June 30th, St. Paul. St. Paul was born at Tarsus of Jewish parents and studied at Jerusalem at the feet of Gamaliel. While still a young man, he held the clothes of those who stoned the proto-martyr Stephen, and in his restless zeal he pressed on to Damascus, breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of Christ. But near Damascus a light from heaven struck him to the earth. He heard a voice which said, "Why persecutest thou me?" He saw the form of him who had been crucified for his sins, and then for 3 days saw nothing more. He awoke from his trance a new man, a new creature in Jesus Christ. He left Damascus for a long retreat in Arabia, and then at the call of God he carried the gospel to the uttermost limits of the world, and for years he lived and labored with no thought but the thought of Christ crucified. No desire but to spend and be spent for him. He became the apostle to the Gentiles, whom he had been taught to hate, and wished himself anathema for his own countrymen, who sought his life. Perils by land and sea could not damp his courage, nor toil and suffering and age dull the tenderness of his heart. At last he gave blood for blood. In his youth he had imbibed the false zeal of the Pharisees at Jerusalem, the holy city of the former dispensation. With St. Peter, he consecrated Rome, our holy city, by his martyrdom, and poured into its church all his doctrine with all his blood. He left 14 epistles, which have been fountainhead for the Church's doctrine, the consolation and delight of her greatest saints. His interior life, so far as we can tell, lies open before us in these divine writings, the life of one who has died forever to himself and risen again in Jesus Christ. St. John Chrysostom says, "In what did this blessed one gain an advantage over the other apostles? How comes it that he lives in all men's mouths throughout the world? Is it not through the virtue of his epistles? Nor will his work cease while the race of man continues. Even now, like a most chivalrous knight, Paul stands in our midst and takes captive every thought to the obedience of Christ." Reflection. St. Paul complains that all seek the things which are their own, and not the things which are Christ's. See if these words apply to you, and resolve to give yourself without reserve to God. St. Paul, pray for us.
Saints 365 is narrated by Rob Roller, edited by Josh Bach, and produced by Our Local Parish Productions. Funding for this project is made possible by Catholic businesses. Please go to the business directory at ourlocalparish.com to support these generous businesses. Thank you for listening. God bless.